stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't
Hey, ha!
you
Ha!
very
Ha!
well, but there's so much to learn from the stories
Ha! 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 Yeah, that's
of your pain, of your love,
Who?
about the way that home feels, how she lit up your life.
Hey, 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 hey. Hey, hey, hey. 1, 2, 3. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of Molloy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, hey, hey. Checking. 1, 2. Hey, 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 hey. Hoo, ha, hibby, hibby, hoo. Check. Hey, hey, hey. 1, 2. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Hey, 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 hey. 1, 2. Okay, so I have an important announcement. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check. Hey. All right. Okay, bye. Yes.
There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't know you very well, but there's flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain you can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain you can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't know you very well, but there's so much to learn from the stories you tell of your pain, of your life, about the way that home feels, how she lit up your life. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain you can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't know you very well, but there's so much to learn from the stories you tell of your pain, of your life, about the way that home feels, how she lit up your life. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. Room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. That home feels, how she lit up your life. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't know you very well, but there's so much to learn from the stories you tell of your pain, of your life, about the way that home feels, how she lit up your life. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't know you very well, but there words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't know you very well, but there's so much to learn from the stories you tell of your pain, of your life, about the way that home feels, how she lit up your life. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't know you very well, but there's so much to learn from the stories you tell of your pain, of your life, about the way that home feels, how she lit up your life. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips
We don't have to set up video.
like droplets of rain. You can
Okay, I don't care either. So
I'm just going to put my remarks here then.
okay.
I do want to talk about one thing.
your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't know you very well, but there's so much to learn from the stories you tell of your pain, of your words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't know you very well, but there's so much to learn from the stories you tell of your pain, of your life, about the way that home feels, how she lit up your life. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't know you very well, but there's so much to learn from the stories you tell of your pain, of your life, about the way that home feels, how she lit up your life. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't know you very well, but there they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain you can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. There you stand in the room, all the eyes on you. I watch you take a deep breath, close your eyes and let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain you can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't know you that home feels, how she lit up your life. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain you can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. So thank you for coming. I'm sure the presence of a special colloquium really piqued your interest and curiosity. I just want to tell you, just so you know, we received some emails from people wondering if the college was closing. It is not closing. Let me be emphatic about that. We're in great shape. We're not closing. It also was not an April Fool's Day joke either. We had some questions about that too. So, but anyway, let me just kind of get right to the business at hand, because I'm sure you're wondering why I ask everyone to come. So according to my contract, I am to notify the board by June 30th of my intention relative to contract renewal. So I'm announcing today that I will not be renewing my contract. So my presidency will end on the nice round number of 20 on June 30th, 2020. Let me emphasize that date. It is June 30th, 2020. I'm not leaving to pursue another executive position, but rather I am stepping down as president to take the sabbatical I have accrued over my last 30 years. Quite frankly, I could not envision signing up for another 3 or 5 years, given the requirements of the job, and I hope you understand that. I do not know specifically what I will be doing after my sabbatical that will begin July 1st, 2020, but I've asked the board to hold open for me a faculty appointment as my tenure and rank allow. I'm sure you understand that this has been a very difficult decision for me and for Karen, who's here. Thank you, Karen. More than any job I know of, a college president is linked to the place where he or she works and to the hundreds and hundreds of relationships you build and treasure. I've always seen my job every day as a most amazing gift, for we do noble work, framing the future by educating servant leaders and engaged citizens who desire to do good. But it is a role that wears on you mentally and physically, and that is a plural you, Karen included. In 2017, I found myself in the hospital twice. A few of you know this. First in May, coincidentally at the day of a board meeting. And then in June, my pulse rate was in the 30s, and I was eventually diagnosed with a genetic heart condition. We have all these nurses here, called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which necessitated the insertion of a pacemaker and defibrillator. And that was all happening when we were experiencing that unexpected enrollment challenge brought on by the governor's Excelsior Scholarship. I'm fine now and mostly symptom-free, but that episode gave me pause. Pause to consider priorities and the future. I think back to the most important decisions I made in my life, and there are only but a handful. Going to medical school and leaving medical school, because that is where I met Karen, and that is where I decided to pursue an academic career in higher education. And of course, applying for the presidency of Molloy College and accepting the job offer. It has been the most amazing 19 years of my life. I have felt the push of your energy behind me, and occasionally pushing back, okay? We know that. Filling the sails of the ship, pushing the college forward. We have never idled in the doldrums. If you are a sailor, as I have been, you know the feel of the tiller when you catch the wind at its edge and fullness. You can actually feel when you're in that exact slot. You lean into it, and you ride its tremendous energy. That is the feeling I have felt each and every day working alongside all of you. I have felt your passion, your commitment, your willingness to care and to act on that caring. You have never wavered in your commitment. Together, we have transformed the college from a predominantly baccalaureate granting institution into the highest ranked comprehensive regional university in the New York City metropolitan area with academic programs up and through the doctoral level. Together, we have more than doubled enrollment from the 2,200 students when I came to 5,000 today. Together, we have propelled the reputation and brand of the college to ever higher levels, positioning the college as a first choice for students. Together, we have placed the college on a strong financial footing, achieving one of only a handful of positive outlooks by Standard & Poor's, our rating agency. Together, we have rebuilt the campus, and together we have built a rich culture of student life. Our ability to attract a new leader is at its best when everything is clicking, when the new president can look forward and not backwards, and this is that time. So I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to serve alongside each of you, doing, quite frankly, what I love. I have been merely, though, one hand on the ship. It is your ship. The college is your college. And we have the opportunity to use this presidential transition to chart a future course. So looking to the future, what is in front of us right now that is left to do in the next 15 months remaining in my voyage with you and in the first 15 months of the new president? When I told the chair of the board, John McEntee, that's who this fellow is sitting on stage, if you don't know him, when I told him in Florida in January of my decision not to renew my contract, I expressed that my one nagging fear in leaving would be that we would hit the brakes for 2 years, my final year and the new president's first. I am working with the leadership team to assemble a transition plan that includes the priorities for the next 2 years, which we will present to you at Community Day, and we will present to the board in September for their sign-off. This plan will be based on the college's strategic plan, you all remember that, and represents those priorities that you have been sharing with us. I'm sure many of you have questions about how the college will move forward in the selection process for the next president. This responsibility falls to the Board of Trustees, working with all of you. Let me say that the college has an amazing and dedicated Board of Trustees led by John McEntee, who is a capable and committed leader. Well, I will now turn the program over to John.
Good morning. I, like perhaps many of you, have difficulty imagining a Molloy College without Drew Bogner. His inspirational leadership has placed Molloy College on a trajectory no one could have reasonably expected when Drew joined the Molloy College community 19 years ago. Would anyone at that time have predicted Molloy College would be ranked by Money Magazine as one of the nation's top 3 value colleges for 2 consecutive years? Or that U.S. News and World Report would recognize Molloy as one of the top colleges in the Northeast? Would anyone have predicted that our enrollment would almost double in size? Few moments have more consequence to a college than the selection of a new president. As we have seen with Drew, a good choice can be transformational. And as we have seen with other institutions, a bad choice can exact a heavy and lasting toll. That is because a president comes to personify an institution and shape its future. The president provides leadership to ensure academic integrity and scholarship, builds a sense of shared mission, secures external support, protects and strengthens the college's reputation, and serves as ambassador to the community. It is because of Drew's many accomplishments that we have a collective sense of loss today. But it is also because of those accomplishments that Molloy College begins its search for a new president from a position of strength. With a superb and dedicated faculty, strong administrative team, solid financial base, an accomplished student body, and our Dominican traditions of study, service, spirituality, and community values, we are in a position to attract a strong and diverse group of candidates from across the country. My purpose today is to provide an overview of the steps the college will take to hire a new president. Our goal is to have a process that identifies the qualities and capabilities we want in our next president, attracts a strong and diverse group of candidates possessing those qualities and capabilities, and then thoughtfully and rigorously evaluates those candidates to find the best person to succeed Drew as president. At the conclusion of my remarks, I will be glad to answer any questions you may have. The first step in the process is the establishment of a presidential search committee. The Board of Trustees has established such a committee, and I have appointed my predecessor, Chair Emeritus Dan Henry, as chair of the committee. As a long-serving trustee and chairman, Dan is very familiar with the college. And as the former chief financial officer of American Express, Dan has invaluable experience in high-level executive searches. I am grateful to Dan for agreeing to lead this critical task. Besides Dan, the Presidential Search Committee comprises Teresa Alstrom, Board Vice Chair, Sister Peggy McVetti, Board Member and Prioress-elect of the Sisters of St. Dominic of Amityville, Board Members Zaki Hussain, Susan Santoro, and Kenneth Pritchard, Dr. Ann Branchini, Vice President for Academic Affairs and Dean of Faculty, Diane Fornieri, Chief of Staff and Secretary to the Board, Catherine Musenti, Vice President for Mission and Ministry, Dr. Lisa Zakaya Newland, Faculty Council President and Chair and Undergraduate Director of the Department of Social Work, Daniel McGann, Associate Dean for Undergraduate Studies, Director of the Honors Program, and Assistant Professor of Music. And finally, we will have a student representative, the selection of which will await the outcome of the student government elections in a few weeks. Now, to assist the committee in each step of the process of selecting a new president, the college has retained, after a detailed series of interviews by a small subcommittee of the search committee, a preeminent search firm, Storbeck, Pimentel, and Associates. With the search committee and search firm in place, the next step in the process is to prepare a position specification, recognizing that not all colleges and universities have the same needs, and not all candidates have the same abilities. A position specification is more than a job description. It explains the necessary and preferred attributes of the new president, describes the history, mission, and values of the college, and outlines the challenges that lie ahead. This step involves an assessment of our future challenges. Will our greatest need be a skilled manager with documented enterprise leadership experience? Or will it be an academic leader with a track record of high-level scholarship? Or will it be someone who is skilled at fundraising, who can facilitate resource acquisition? We want the development of the position specification to be an inclusive process and consider the input of all campus constituencies to be very valuable. And so, to prepare this position specification, the search committee, working with our search consultant, will be meeting with constituencies of the college with two objectives: listening and learning. During these meetings, which will take place on campus on April 15 and 16, the search committee and our consultant will seek to develop with all of you a strong sense of the opportunities and challenges facing the college. Among the questions that will be posed are, what is distinctive about Molloy College? What are our challenges? What do we hope to accomplish in the future? What are the critical attributes of our next president? And what change do you want the next president to lead? The answers to these questions will be distilled into the position specification. The position specification will provide prospective candidates with insight and information about Molloy College and the attributes and experience we seek in a new president. Once the position specification is approved by the search committee, it will be transmitted to the Board of Trustees, which will consider it at the May 9 Board of Trustees meeting. Once the position specification is approved, the next step in the process is the development of a robust and diverse candidate pool. Using the position specification, the position will be advertised in prominent higher education journals, which will yield candidates from across the country. In addition, we may have candidates already affiliated with Molloy. And finally, the search firm will proactively recruit accomplished candidates who may not be looking for a new position. These efforts will result in a pool of candidates for consideration, and we anticipate this step will be completed by September. The next step will be the assessment of candidates. This step does not begin only when the pool of candidates is complete. Rather, it is a rolling process and begins when candidates first apply and continues as additional candidates apply. Insights from the search firm are developed based upon communications with the candidates and through the search firm's internal vetting. The search committee will then consider the candidates with the goal of narrowing the candidate pool to a group of semifinalists. Once selected, this group will be vetted by the search firm and interviewed by the search committee. Once this process is completed, the search committee will narrow the candidate pool to a group of finalists. Each of these finalists will be subject to further vetting, including a background check, and then interviews by members of the Board of Trustees. After that is done, the search committee will report its recommendations to the Board of Trustees. It is our intention that before the board acts on any recommendation, the final candidate will visit the campus for meetings with different constituencies of the college, including faculty, staff, administration, and students. The final step in the process is hiring, which involves the selection of a new president by the Board of Trustees, the negotiation of a contract, and the announcement of the hiring. It is our expectation that this will all take place by the end of December. Let me say a few words about presidential transition. Drew has touched on a few things. It has been observed that the hiring of a new president does not end with a sigh of relief and a crossing of the fingers. A critical part of the hiring of a new president is ensuring a smooth and successful transition. To accomplish this task, a transition committee, separate from the search committee, will be formed to oversee and facilitate the process. Of course, Drew will be heavily involved in this process, providing his thoughts and insights to the incoming president between the new president's hiring in December and the start of the new president's term in June of 2020. More information on this committee will be disseminated in the coming months. A few other points before I take questions, if any. First, there will be no pause in Molloy's upward trajectory during this search process. There are many things that Drew, the senior leadership team, and the board will be seeking to accomplish during the balance of Drew's term as president. Indeed, I can tell you the senior leadership team is working on multiple initiatives that will have a positive effect on the college long after Drew's retirement. Second, the search for a new president requires balancing the goal of transparency with the need for confidentiality. As to transparency, the Molloy College website will have a section set aside for the presidential search process, while providing information to prospective candidates while providing the Molloy community with regular updates on the progress of the search. As to confidentiality, assuring and maintaining confidentiality is both critical to a successful search process and a moral imperative. almost all of the prospective candidates will be employed at institutions other than Molloy, and the fact that they've applied to be president of Molloy College can jeopardize their standing at their present institutions, and if not chosen, can be embarrassing or worse. And so, the Presidential Search Committee, to ensure a robust candidate pool, will be pledging confidentiality to candidates. I ask that each of you honor that pledge by not asking members of the committee for information on the candidates. Third, I am confident our Presidential Search Committee will identify a president who will continue the college's upward trajectory while being grounded in the Dominican values of the pursuit of truth, integration of study and contemplation, seeing God in all things, compassion and justice, and engaged scholarship. And so the difficult question before us is not whether we will find an outstanding new president, because we will. Rather, the difficult question may be, how do we thank Drew for all he has done for the Molloy community? I am told the average term of a college or university president is 5 years. Drew will have served as president for 20. During the remaining 15 months of Drew's tenure as president, we will each have the opportunity, in our own way, to thank Drew. Most of these expressions of appreciation will be intangible, as they should be, involving perhaps a simple verbal thank you. But there may be tangible ways, and I am able to tell you of one. A special meeting of the Board of Trustees was convened last night to advise the board of Drew's intention to retire and to address this retirement. I am pleased to announce that during this meeting, the Board of Trustees, in recognition of all of Drew's many contributions to Molloy College, passed a unanimous resolution naming our soon-to-be-completed third residence hall, Drew and Karen Bogner Hall. Congratulations, Drew and Karen. Those are my remarks, and I'm glad to take any questions if anyone has. This is your time to ask, if you'd like to ask.
First of all, congratulations on your retirement. I have 17 more years to go, so I envy you.
You're a lot younger.
Not much, believe me. I just have one question. Given the importance of shared governance, and given the central role that the faculty play at any college or university, wouldn't it be a good idea to have one elected member, at least from the faculty, on the search committee?
Well, first of all, we do have members of the faculty on the search committee. The important, I guess I would say a couple of things. The board recognizes the reason we have these buildings and infrastructure and support staff is because what a college does at its essence is transfer the wisdom and the knowledge of the faculty to the students. Our role as members of the Board of Trustees is to make sure that the infrastructure is there to facilitate that information transfer process. And so we're going to do this in two ways. First of all, the drafting of the position specification, from everything I've come to learn, is probably the most critical point of the process. And the faculty is going to be fully involved in that process in meetings on April 15th and 16th. And that's where the point is, where you come tell us what you think is the most significant challenges facing the college. That's what's going to be advertised, and the search committee, once that position specification is done, is going to be comparing the candidates to the criteria in that position specification. So I'm comfortable that with the makeup of the search committee, we will be able to make sure that we have full input from the faculty. Other questions? Okay. Now, seeing no more questions, I'm going to, there's another question?
Just one more. Congratulations, Drew, and to the board for making such a great donation and honor, I think, for the dorm for everything you've done. The process will basically begin at what point in time? Do you have a time frame or a timeline that you can share with us? Did I miss it?
Yeah, so the first part of the process is establishment of a search committee and retaining a search firm. So we've done those two things, okay? The next part of the process is preparing the position specification, and that's going to start on April 15th and April 16th. The goal is that by June, we will have that in place, and then the position will be advertised. And then during the course of the summer, as applications will roll in, and then people will be vetted, and by the end of by the end of August, okay, the candidate pool will be fully developed. So, and then from that point, from September through December, will be evaluation of those candidates. So that's the process and timeline. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to turn it over to Drew. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Before I give my closing remarks, I just want to let everyone know that we are recording today's communications, and we're also live streaming. So when you go back and people say, "What happened?" you can say, "Well, go look at it for yourself." Okay. So anyway, you can tell them that if they want to see, and the information will be out there on an email telling you how to access the recordings. Okay. So I've had to take a lot of collective breaths over the last few months. So we all know that transitions happen. And what's important is to understand that the moment is more about looking forward than backward. Molloy is a powerful voice for change and an amazing engine of personal transformation for our students, for those of us who work here, and for our partners, and more importantly, an effective engine for social transformation. There is still much more we can do. The best time for a transition is one of your own choosing. A time when we are strong in enrollment, in reputation, in our sense of purpose, when we have a collective sense of vision, and quite frankly, when we have a desire to do more. Over the past few months, I've been understandably in a reflective and poetic mood. So I'd like to end with a poem that I wrote entitled Transitions. Life is a pattern of interconnected events and actions that form our own peculiar web. There are decisions we make that form a wake, that guide us home. And then those that go awry with unanticipated events that literally stand us on our head. But most of us can point to a few decisions that have altered our lives for good or bad. To be fair, looking back, I, as most, did not see the fullness of events a singular decision would have, the life-altering path it would form. I am, after all, neither clairvoyant nor omnipresent, though I'd like to think I have a unique, Marvel-esque vision to see the future. But now at 60 years plus, I have come to a revelation of sorts. When we come to those inflection points in our lives that demand a choice, there are two actions we can all take that will put us inside that turbulent wake. First, just breathe. Just breathe. We do not control life and its quirks and turns, no matter what the illusion we create. Second, Just keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Maintaining the status quo is a decision we each own in the end. Not acting as a choice, and common idiom wisdom tells us that. Don't stick your head in the sand. When you act and move forward, the unseen path unfolds to the next inflection point. It unfolds with surprise and wonder, with so many possibilities. We, you and me, are at one of those inflection points. I do not know what will unfold for me, or for you, or for the college. But I am prepared to hold the possibilities and begin the next journey. Thank you so much.
And let your mind do the rest. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain. You can hear with every beat that your skin is screaming as you sing these melodies. I don't know you very well, but there's so much to learn from the stories you tell of your pain, of your life, about the way that home feels, how she lit up your life. The words are your blood, they flow through your veins. The notes drip from your fingertips like droplets of rain.